Hi, I'm Felipa, and this is day 45 of my year-long reading plan to get through this Bible. So today I started on chapter 6. I'm in book of Joshua. Jericho is destroyed, and the Lord basically tells the people of Israel, specifically Joshua, for 7 days, you're going to go around the city, around the perimeter, every single day, once around the city. And and you're going to sound trumpets and you're not going to speak. And then on the seventh day, you'll do that circle again. The trumpets will sound and you will all shout, and the walls of Jericho will all fall over. And here is a depiction of the trumpets over here, the ark, and the wall falling down. And so Rahab, remember the harlot from yesterday? The city gets destroyed, all the men, the women, everything in it, but except for Rahab. And they save her family. They take all the jewelry, all the gold, all the silver. The Israelites are defeated at Ai. So they try to overtake this kingdom, this city, and they send in people and they get chased out and overtaken, and Israel men are slayed. And it is and so Joshua complains to God, and he says, "What have you done? You've turned your back on us," because Israel turned their backs before their enemies. Now the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of future kind of battles will hear that we ran from a battle and that we were destroyed. And what will they think? And God tells him, well, Israel has sinned. Somebody in your tribe, in your nation, has stolen things from Jericho and forbidden things and cursed things that I had told you not to. Essentially, things like false gods and worship and things of worship that God had said you shouldn't take from other countries or other nations because it's from a false god. And so God says, bring in all the tribes, bring in the families, bring in the people. And they find that it was Achan's Achan's sin that destroyed him and his family. He confesses to the crime. He says that he stole goodly Babylonish garment, 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold and of 50 shekels weight. He hid them in the earth under his tent, and Joshua sends messengers. They find it. They take his whole family, his daughters, his sons, his oxen, his sheep, his tent, and they all stone him in the valley and then burn his whole family. So quite intense there. God encourages Joshua that God's favor is back now that they have repaired that sin, and Israel is victorious at Ai, and they do the same thing they did at Jericho and thus far, which is they should destroy everything. They burn the whole city. They take all the gold and silver. And we end on this part here, chapter 8, where God renews his promise to the people of Israel, and Joshua sits there and he speaks God's law that God had commanded to Moses before him. And it says, interestingly, here in verse 35, there was not a word of all that Moses commanded, which Joshua read not before all the congregation of Israel, with the women and the little ones and the strangers that were conversant among them. Basically saying, we keep rereading this law. You guys have heard this thing again, but yet the people of Israel keep sinning. So it's funny, just this little piece saying there isn't a word in this commandment that Joshua had not read before. You guys have heard this. So tomorrow is day 46. I start with chapter 9, the kings combine against Israel. And I will update you on what I've read thus far tomorrow.